What's up, y'all? We are back. This is episode 2 of the Milwaukee Brewers out of the Park Baseball 25 series. We are here. It is September 6th, 2024. I'm also trying out a new top of the screen right here just to fill the black space. The full screen view did not work, unfortunately, for recording on OBS. So this will have to do. I'm probably make some change to this. It's a little bland for my liking, but it is what it is. Anyway, we're here. The Brewers are 82-58. Just 3 games back of the Chicago Cubs, who have been dominant this season. We haven't really been able to catch up to them, even despite a great month of August, in my opinion. We finished 15-12, so it wasn't actually that good. But July was excellent, 16-8. You see, our only really bad month was April. Besides that, we've been, a 600 to 650 winning percentage team. So yeah, really good stuff here. Checking out the offense. I mean, there's some stuff to update on. Tyler Black has turned things back around. He's been excellent, getting a bit more playing time, but he's not an everyday player just because of his defensive deficiencies, and Rhys Hoskins has been killing it as well, so he's not really getting any first base at bats from him. But yeah, he's been really good when we played him kind of all around the field at this point. Mostly first base, left field, a little bit of right field as well. So yeah, he's been great. Garrett Mitchell continues to rake a 129 WRC plus. Some suspect defense in center field, but he hasn't been that bad. Hoskins, we already talked about him. He's been awesome. Willie Adames has been great, on pace for 5.5 WAR, kind of keeping pace with where he was at the beginning of the year, or pretty much throughout the full season. Sal Frelick, still 119 WRC plus, on pace for 3.5 WAR. That's excellent. Christian Yelich has been killing it. Had a really nice month of August, a 150 WRC plus. And yeah, he's been a good hitter all season for us. William Contreras has struggled a bit. His WRC plus down to 114, but he hasn't been too bad. Still on pace for 4 WAR. We'll take that all day. His defense has been above average. At least he hasn't cost us any runs framing wise. And then Christian Arroyo, guy's taken a little bit of a step back, but he's been solid as a utility guy. Definitely not going to complain about a league average bat from a bench player. And then Jackson Churio has been the big story. I kind of talked about last episode how I thought things, better things were coming for him as he, develops a little bit more throughout the season. Last time we checked in, I believe he had a WRC plus of 80. Yeah, he's about a league average hitter now after a spectacular month of August, a 149 WRC plus. July was excellent too, 139, and so far in September in 3 games, 210 WRC plus. So he's been awesome. I don't know why Tyler Black's, he probably shouldn't be playing so much in left field anymore. Yeah, and Black's actually taken over at first base against lefties. I didn't realize he was a reverse platoon guy. He's actually better against lefties than he is righties, so it's honestly really advantageous considering that's been our weak side. I guess we just go to Gary Sanchez. He's been fine enough as our weak side platoon guy, but Tyler Black gives us way more upside. And Sanchez can still backup catch. Bryce Terang, the bat really hasn't been there the last month, down to 86 WRC plus, 1.4 WAR. He's been fine enough, but not great. Joey Ortiz back up with the team. He's played in 2 games. And then we should go to Yohan Moncada, who's lost his starting job. This trade just did not work out. I thought, maybe some better days were ahead from the 74 WRC plus. Nope, he's been much worse so far in, a good sample size, 45 games. But yeah, that's been a bad deal, but it's not like we gave up a ton to get him. We didn't give up really much. So it's not a trade that's going to destroy our franchise or anything, but still not a good one, admittedly. And then Harrison Bader has played a little bit. He's been okay. Good defensive center fielder. So that's the offense. Nothing real else to report from other guys. It's pretty much been this team. the last little bit. And then the pitching, you see a ton of arms here. We have 16 guys up right now. I do expand rosters to 30 when September hits. I just think it's a little bit, I didn't like 40. I didn't like the 28. So I think 30 is a good mark. You bring up 4 extra guys to help you out down the stretch. So that's how I do things. You don't have to like it, whatever. That's how I've always done it. So Freddie Peralta has been spectacular. The FIP keeps improving. So the regression that I thought might have been coming hasn't really happened. And he's going to be in the Cy Young conversation, I'm sure. And DL Hall, man, he's been excellent, maybe even better than Peralta in some ways. And he's had a great little stretch here. His ERA with 3.15 in the year. The FIP looks really good. On pace for 4.5 WAR. Close to 5 WAR as a 25-year-old in his first year as a starter. I mean, it's all good stuff from DL Hall. The walk rate's still a little high, but that's to be expected. I think the stamina has actually jumped up from, it has. So he's gone from a 45 to a 50. That's definitely valuable. And then Luis Severino has struggled since a really nice start. He hasn't been bad by any means. Like, he's been a league average pitcher, but he had a couple really good starts to begin. He had an ERA under 2 throughout his first 4 starts. He's come back down to earth, but has still been a solid enough arm as our 3 guy. And Aaron Ashby and Jacob Junis, I'm both using as followers at the moment. Junis has been using that role for, I think, the last 4 appearances, and he's been much better. Actually picked up 4 consecutive wins in those appearances. So his overall numbers on the year don't look great, but he's definitely improving. And then Aaron Ashby, he's just been moved to that follower role and had a good appearance his first time. I'm not sure if this is a relief appearance. No, that was a start. I think this one... Nope. Okay, so I just did this. I'm recording this the day after last episode, so kind of forgot about that. But yeah, those guys have been serviceable enough in the rotation. And the bullpen, it's pretty stacked. Devin Williams, the results haven't really been there. 2.82 ERA is good, but the FIP is excellent. Hasn't really given up a ton of home runs, striking out a ton of guys. The walks have been an issue for him, which has led him to below 3 saves already. But he's been good. Trevor McGill has been amazing. He's been a huge surprise. Hobie Milner had been even better than his ERA indicates. He had a really rough outing here in the 7-2 loss. He was a sub-2 ERA before that, so I'm not going to take too much into account the ERA. I know he's been excellent. And then the next most valuable guy, I guess, has been Giovanni Gallegos. He's been amazing. 1.15 ERA. The FIP is FIP minus 28. ERA plus of 3.70. He's been a huge pickup. And then Nick Robertson also has been good when he's been up. He did spend a little bit of time in the minors through 2 games down there, but now that rosters expanded, I actually called him up before rosters expanded. He'll be up with the team for the rest of the year. He's been great. And Kenyon Middleton, the numbers don't look great. I think there's better days ahead for him. As much as a month can be better days ahead. But yeah, he's been okay. He just had a couple rough games and a small sample size. Joel Payamps has still been really good. He's made a couple starts in the opener role for us. And he's been a really nice arm for us this season. Jacob Mizorowski. We'll go with Mizorowski. If anyone knows how to pronounce that, I should probably go look that up. But called him up, and he's been solid enough. Small sample size, but I called him up end of August-ish before rosters expanded to ensure that he could be on the postseason roster. I guess I didn't need to call him to the majors. I just need to put him on the 40, but how things worked out, we needed a fresh arm. We called him up. I have Vieira up with the team, trying to lower that ERA before the end of the year. That's really ugly. That's kind of the only reason he's up ahead of some of the other guys, just to give him a couple appearances. And then Colin Rea has been better as a reliever, but overall the numbers on the year not great. And he has a team option for next year. Likely won't pick that up. So I think Elvis Peguero has been fine when he's been out there. I guess that's the last guy to discuss. Yeah. And then, in the pipeline, Reed Garrett's still down in AAA. He'll get an appearance at some point in September here. JB Bukauskas hasn't pitched since the beginning of the year. And none of these guys have really been up with the team. Injured list, Brandon Woodruff, 3 to 4 weeks until he's back. Not looking great, but maybe he can be back for the playoffs. Even end of the season is definitely possible. So, that's the check-in here, September 6th. We are going to go through... make sure all my draftees are signed, too. Yeah, we're good. We're going to go through series by series here and see if we can make a push for the division. The wild card, we're pretty set, but not necessarily like... we're 9 games up on the Cardinals. We're in good shape. And Jefferson Kiro, the guy I forgot to mention, he fractured his wrist. He would have been up with the team here. But unfortunately, the injury is going to keep him out for the rest of the year. Brock Wilkins played much better, but he's not quite ready for the majors, I don't think. So, yeah, let's go. We have Luis Severino here against Carson Palmquist for the Rockies. A sweep here would be huge to bring us back, and we lose 11-1. Yikes. Hunter Goodman did some damage against us. Nothing offensively. Tyler Black, RBI. Severino wasn't that bad, but Nick Robertson has his first bad outing for us. 5 runs in 2/3 of an inning, 4 walks. Yikes. So Ashby looking to bounce back, bounce the team back, and we win 7-4. Garrett Mitchell, big day, 2 hits, 4 RBIs. Terang drove in a few. Moncada drove in a run. He's playing limitedly. He's not starting every day, but I think him and what's his name, the other third baseman there, they're trading off every other day. So Peguero, not great as the opener. He got up a home run, but Ashby was solid as the follower. Milner, not great once again. He's been a little shaky down the stretch, but Devin Williams closed it out. We're able to win. A 3-run home run by Garrett Mitchell in the bottom of the 8th to give us that win. So Freddie Peralta looking to pick up the sweep against Herman Marquez. And we win 1-0. The 1-run driven in by Willie Adames. Freddie Peralta, incredible start. 7 innings, 11 Ks. Trevor McGill struck out the side in his 1 inning, and Devin Williams closed it out for the save. A 1-0 victory. And now we have a day off, which is pretty big here down the stretch. So Jacob Junis is not a guy I guess he had a pretty decent start last time. But I think I'd rather go skip Junis in this trip through the rotation, go Hall, Severino, Ashby, and see how that goes. So Blake Snell, and freaking San Francisco, god damn it. They freaking traded for Luzardo at the deadline. What did they go on to giving up? He's fine, I guess. Heliot Ramos, okay. Really? Oh, wow. That's a disappointing package. If I knew it was that, I feel like that always happens, though. If I knew it was that price, I would have gone harder after him. But they wanted a freaking king's ransom from me, so they wanted my number 1 prospect, blah, 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 all that stuff, and whatever. So DL Hall against Blake Snell in Game 1. The Giants are a really good team. They are 79-65, third place, but right in the wild card race with us. They picked up Kyle Schwarber as well at the deadline. A 1-for-1 for a prospective minor leaguer. Wow, yeah, it's pretty shocking this team's so good, but their pitching's been awesome. But yeah, Game 1. Let's do it. DL Hall, Blake Snell, a couple hard-throwing lefties, and we would lose 2-0. Pitching for the Giants just too much for us. DL was not bad at all. 4 1/3, 2 runs. Colin Ray was really good in relief, and then McGill, but no offense off of Snell. So we will go down in the series 1-0. Severino against Luzardo, a couple of deadline pickups. And we get the best of Luzardo as we win 7-5. It's good to see, even though I love Jesus. And Jackson Chourio, after this game, an above-average WRC+. Look at that. Contreras had a nice game. Tyler Black, a couple hits, a couple more RBIs. He's been great. Sal Frelick. Do you have a... He just had an RBI, but pinch hit appearance. Severino was not good. Neither was Luzardo, but the bullpen for us, much better. Mizorowski picks up his first career win. Milner and Williams close it out. So, looking for the series win to extend our lead over the Giants and the Padres. It'll be Aaron Ashby as the follower against Jordan Hicks, who looks like he's been roughed up this year as a starter. And we win 12-5. Looks like we roughed up Hicks as well. It's unfortunate for them, but maybe they should stop throwing him as a starter. Peguero, two innings, no hits. Ashby not great in his following appearance. And Payams picks up a 3-inning save. What a ridiculous game. But I guess it saved the bullpen big time. And man, a lot to talk about here. Chourio, 4 more hits. He's been amazing the last 2 months. Sal Frelick drove in 5 runs out of the cleanup spot. Willie Adames drove in 3 as well. So we pick up the series win against San Fran, and then we will play Arizona, who I don't know how they've been this year. They've been an okay team. Not great, but not bad. 71-75. So game 1 will be Zach Gallen against Freddie Peralta, a matchup of aces here. And we lose 5-2. Corbin Carroll had a big game against us. Not much offensively. Peralta pitched pretty well. 5 1/3, 2 runs. Keenan Middleton, not a good relief appearance, and Tyler McGill also gave up a run. Trevor McGill, sorry, not Tyler. We'll have Christopher Mena against Jacob Junis will make the start here. He's had a bit of an off since his last start. His last appearance. Peguero pitches well again as the opener. Junis pitched well in the bulk follower role, but not much offensively at all against Arizona as Christian Mena shut us down. So looking to salvage the series, take 1 out of 3. DL Hall against Eduardo Rodriguez. A couple more lefties going head-to-head. We lose 6-5. Almost made a comeback there in the 9th, but they shut us down at the end. Slade Ciccone, I think that's how you say that. DL Hall didn't go deep again, but not the worst start in the world. Rea gave 3 unearned runs, and Vieira gave another run. Jeez, he's been bad. But a big game from Willie Adames. So we get swept by Arizona. We are now 2 games up on the Dodgers for the first wild card, 4 games back of the Cubs. So the Cubs keeping pace with us. So we'll have Severino, Ashby, and Peralta for the next series against Allard, Nola, and Andrew Painter for a struggling Phillies squad this season. So we win 6-0 game 1. Severino was excellent. Mizorowski and Williams closed it out, and we got to Allard pretty good. Mick Abel pitched well in relief for them. Offensively, Tyler Black, a couple more RBIs. It feels like he has a multi-RBI game every time. Chourio drove in a run, and Gary Sanchez drove in a run as well. In a not rare start. I guess he's played a good amount, but an infrequent start. So Aaron Ashby against Aaron Nola. 8-3 victories. We take the first 2 of this set. Jackson Chourio, a big game. 3 hits and a home run. William Contreras plays really well. Garrett Mitchell, a multi-hit game. And Christian Arroyo at the bottom of the order, a multi-hit game. Peguero, once again, really good in that opener role. And Aaron Ashby, not bad as the bulk guy. Milner, his ratings drop? Yeah, they did. Milner and Payams close it out. So we look for the sweep here. Freddie Peralta against Andrew Painter. And we lose 8-7. Churio, another really big game. 3 hits, 2 RBIs. Moncada drove in a few as well. Peralta did not have his best stuff in this one, clearly. Colin Rea pitched decently, and they let Williams go a little bit too long as he gives up 1 run on 2 walks, no hits. Interesting. Not sure how that happened, but yeah, tough game. But we take the series. Still 4 games back of the Cubs with only 6 to go. No, 9 to go. We have 9 to go, 2 up on the Dodgers, 6 up on the Giants and Cardinals. So our magic number to clinch is 3, right? Do they have magic numbers? Yeah. Oh, here we go. Magic number is 5. Okay. Okay. So Jacob Junis, do we need to pitch him here? Yes, we do. Okay, so Junis, Hall, Severino for this series. Rematch against Arizona, who just got swept against. And a 10-2 loss. Yikes. Mizorowski made the start in this one. Junis was not good in relief, and then the rest of the bullpen just kind of fell apart. Let's get Vieira off this team. He's been so bad every time I send him out there. Let's get Reed Garrett back up. So game 2, DL Hall against Eduardo Rodriguez. We win 7-2, finally taking one against the Diamondbacks. Joey Ortiz, 4 RBIs and a triple. Jackson Churio, another 2-hit game. He's been amazing. DL Hall, an amazing start as well. 8 innings, 9 Ks, 2 runs. So 2 more against Arizona in this one. So Severino and Ashby will make these 2 starts against Blake Watson and Yu-Min Lin. A 4-3 victory with Severino on the mound. He pitches okay. Reed Garrett really good in relief, although it looks like he blew the save in the 6th because he gave one of Severino's runs. Okay. Then Devin Williams picks up the save. Offensively, Harrison Bader had a nice day, hit a home run, 2 RBIs. Adames and Hoskins did the rest of the damage. So Ashby against Lynn, a couple of lefties, and then we have an off day and head to Pittsburgh. We lose 5-2, so we wind up splitting against Arizona in the 4-game set. About as good as you can ask for. Peguero was not good in the opener role for this time. Then Ashby, he was okay. Payamps, whatever. Not much offensively at all, though. Yelich and Contreras doing all the damage run producing wise. So Cubs 4.5 games up on us, so we cannot gain any ground on them. We are 2 games up on the Dodgers for the first wild card, and 5 games up on the Cardinals for the I guess for their spot in the playoffs. And then the Giants are now 2.5 back at the Cardinals. So we swept them, right? We won 2 out of 3. I don't remember. Did we bury the Giants? We took 2 out of 3 against them. Okay, we didn't really bury them. Okay. So the team's still looking good. I don't really have any changes to make. We're playing okay. Not the best baseball we've done this year, but it's been okay. Oh, Paul Skeens. Yikes. What happened? Certainly not his real life rookie year. Okay, so we have Peralta, Hall will start in game 2, and then Severino. Okay, so Peralta against Mitch Keller. Brandon Woodruff back in 1 week, by the way. So not a great outing from the boys. Kenyon Middleton continues to struggle. Out of our bullpen, Mizorowski did not pitch well either. Peralta was okay. Rea was fine. And just, no offense at all, really. So, tough game there. Let's see if we can get to Paul Skeens, send him his 20th loss in his rookie year. We lose 4-6. Skeens picks up the win. DL Hall has a rough start. So looking to avoid getting swept, we're now only one game up on the Dodgers. We have clinched a wild card spot, so that's something. But the Cubs have gone on a little bit of a tailspin here too, but we're not able to capitalize. We'll have to settle for a wild card spot. At this point, the Cubs have clinched the division, so Domingo Germán against Luis Severino, a couple of former Yankees. And they get the better of us as they sweep us. Severino, 7 runs and 3 1/3. Yikes. And now we'll finish out the season against the Mets. So we'll have Ashby, Junis, and then Peralta. I'd rather not start, so we'll probably go to another guy there. Unless this is like, do or die. But, okay, so Ashby against Vasile. We win 6-4, so that's a big win. Get back in the win column. 3 RBIs for Arroyo. Ashby was good as the bulk guy. And all is good. So Jacob Junis, still only game up on the Dodgers. Christian Scott, Jacob Junis. I'd rather not have to start Peralta here. We lose 6-1. Okay, so standings-wise, it'll be, okay, I always screw this up. Braves, Cubs on bye. It'll be the Padres against the worst wild card, which will likely be the Cardinals. So we're going to have to face the Dodgers either way. It's just a matter of if we want to be at home or not. I would rather have Peralta for the series than get home field advantage. So I'm pulling him from the start. And we will go with Colin Rea. Is he? Make sure he doesn't pitch. Okay, sorry about that. I just went 8 and everything. So last game of the season here. Colin Rea will make the start against Kodai Senga. And we win 8-3. Christian Yelich, 2020 player. Nice. Okay, I got to set my playoff roster and everything, so we'll do that in just a few days here. Yelich had a great last game. Hits the 2020 mark in the last game of the season. He had a really, really nice season. Middleton once again struggled. I don't even know if he'll get on the playoff roster at this point. Yeah, his struggles were pretty dramatic at the end of the year. But Colin Rea pitched well, for whatever that counts. So, yeah, let's just see who we're playing here. I think it's the Dodgers, and it will be the Dodgers. Brandon Woodruff's back. I'm totally in on having him make a start, considering the rest of our rotation is not anything to write home about. Let me set my playoff roster. We'll come back for the wildcard series. Okay, so we're here for the playoffs. We will play the Dodgers, who finished just behind us in the wildcard, 2 games back of us. And the lineup's going to look a little bit different. I am going for more of an offensive approach. We're going to start Tyler Black at second base. Not something I really like doing, but his defense is good enough, and his bat's really important for us. And Terang didn't really bring too much at the end of the year. Besides, his speed, which is valuable. We will use him. At least I'm hoping my manager will use him. This is the rest of the lineup against righties, which looks like we'll face 3 righties in the series. And then, the lineup against lefties. I actually didn't set this yet, so I'll probably go Cheerio. And go like that. Not Cheerio first. Hoskins. Cheerio, Black, Arroyo, Ortiz, Bader. Okay. Probably won't need that lineup this series, but we are going with 12 pitchers, 14 hitters. Just probably don't need all those pitchers for one series, so we do have a ton of arms here. So, I'm putting Brandon Woodruff in our third starter spot. We'll see how that winds up going, if we have to use him. Maybe we get eliminated, or maybe we sweep before then. But that will push Severino, who did have a rocky end of the season, outside of one start. They'll push him to the bullpen for now. So yeah, Glasnow, Freddie Peralta, Game 1 of the NL Wildcard Series, Year 1. Let's do it. We lose 7-2, and Peralta will be out. That's not good. I don't really need to IL him at this point. We'll see what happens. But yeah, 7-2 loss. Peralta didn't make it out of the first inning. Reed Garrett pitched admirably in relief, and then the bullpen kind of fell apart at the end, it looks, and not much offensively for us. So that's unfortunate. So we will go to Game 2. DL Hall on the mound against Shohei Ohtani, who made his way back to the mound this season in this game. He's a good pitcher. Had a great offensive season. Not quite as good as last year. That will be Ohtani, DL Hall in Game 2, looking to keep our season alive. And we lose 7-1, so the bats go quiet. Devin Williams gives 3 runs. DL Hall 4 unearned. A Willie Adames error, which is really uncharacteristic of him. 15 on the year. Not too bad at all. But yeah, that's how Season 1 will end. We get bounced in the wild card round. And I don't know how long this episode's been. Maybe we'll go through the offseason in this episode, just because this was a short playoff run, even if the September part did take a while. So we'll come back with the recap of the season, and we'll come back for the offseason. All right, so we're back here. Free agency just began, and we do have a couple offers out there. We'll get to that in a second, but really quickly, want to go through the development lab. I did get this a little bit late. I kind of forgot about it. A couple weeks later. So we have 8 guys going. I like to do an 8-person development lab. 6 was too little for me, in my opinion, for the amount that these hit. So I've noticed, usually 3 out of 8 hit. So instead of 1 out of 6, which kind of sucks at the end of the day, but these aren't huge improvements anyway, but they do help guys get over the hump kind of and turn to a different tier of player, in my opinion. So Jason Churio, I thought about doing his defense, but we can work on that another day. I really want to improve this eye. He did have an 8% walk rate, which is really solid, about league average. But I would like to see this eye tick up a little bit more. Everything else is really coming together as a 20-year-old. So we're going to work on Churio's plate discipline. Tyler Black, he's a pretty complete player. I thought about power, but that's a little bit more difficult. So I'm looking to improve his defense. It says in left field. I don't know if I didn't really have a choice of the position, so I guess he'll try to improve his left field defense. That might improve his infield defense as well. We'll see. If he could be a second baseman long term, take this infield range up to a 55, then he's kind of playable there. At the moment, I'd be very, scared to play him there, quite frankly, but we'll see how he does in that. Then we have a couple different pitchers going for control. We'll just hit all these guys now. DL Hall, who's 26 years old, but has a ton of team control left. Had a great season. The only issue was the walk rate at 3.8 per 9. If he can tick this up to a 50, this could be a completely different guy. Jacob Mizorowski, not a surprise here. Going to work on his control, see if we can make him into a starter. Definitely wasn't great as a reliever last year. The strikeouts were a little underwhelming. I think he'd still be better. If this control could take up to a 45, again, kind of like DL Hall, he'd be a pretty similar player. And then a couple prospects here. First round supplemental pick, Hagen Smith. Going to work on his control as well. It's a little underwhelming, but he was excellent in his short stint in A-ball last year, 7 starts. And then Luke Holman, our first round 17th overall pick. He was okay in A-ball, not quite as good as Smith, which is to be expected. He was a little bit farther behind in the development curve, but also want to work on his control. Just get that up to kind of where his stuff and movement are sitting. And then other things, Jefferson Kiro. The bat is kind of what it is at this point. He'll probably be a league average hitter, maybe a 90 WRC plus guy. But I really want to make him a stud defensive catcher. I don't want him to become another William Contreras with the bat. I'd rather have his defense be elite and be able to, play Contreras at a little more DH, maybe some first base down the road, or just completely take over for him once he hits free agency. in a few years. So gonna work on Kiro's defense, just make him an elite catcher, hopefully. Then Slade Caldwell, our second round pick this season. We're gonna work on his bat speed, see if we can get this power up a little bit. If this can tick up to a 40, 45, you're talking about a legit player. And again, the defense can come later. I'd love him to be a center fielder long term. That'd be great. But you kind of have to get the bat to a point that's playable before you can start thinking about, is this guy a major league player? So get him to the majors first, deal with the glove later. That's kind of the same story with Churio here, where I want to see his bat be elite before we start playing with his defense. That's kind of my thoughts on all of that. Hopefully we have some good success. There's only a couple difficult ones with Kiro and Caldwell here. Everyone else definitely medium or better difficulty. So hopefully we can, hit on 5 of these or so. That'd be great. Okay, let's go to the offseason and the kind of what's going on in free agency. So we do have an offer out. It's a big one. Juan Soto. From a roster construction standpoint, it doesn't make a ton of sense. We have I don't want to compare him to Christian Yelich in his current state, but they would be incredibly similar players. Obviously, Yelich is 80% of Juan Soto, maybe even 70% at this point. But is an eye first player. Not a great defender. So where does he stick long term? He could play some first base. I think he could DH. He could play some right field, left field, whatever. And I'm not really concerned about that because we just need a hitter in this lineup. So, we're a long way out from signing him. I just made the offer today. But if that were to happen, we would have a bit of a logjam in the outfield here. So we'd have Churio, who's not going anywhere, but then Garrett Mitchell and Sal Frelick, both left-handers. And I debated long and hard about which one I really prefer. Garrett Mitchell has a little bit more MLB experience, so he has an extra year of control. But I think Mitchell's probably the better player. He has a little bit more pop, better defense. The bat is more well-rounded, but Frelick, he had a great season in his own right, and the BABIP was a lot lower. So if you look at Garrett Mitchell, 366 BABIP, I don't know if that's sustainable. He did have 3 WAR, and he held his own in center field for the most part this season. Frelick not quite as rangy, but did have a great season in right field. But doesn't have the power that Mitchell does, and also a lower BABIP. So, what? It's a very tough decision on which of these guys I would want to keep. It's kind of a pick your flavor of ice cream. Which one do you like better? They're both good, but are you a chocolate or vanilla guy, basically? So, Frelick has an extra year of control. Mitchell, probably a little bit better of a player, but also maybe his results were more BABIP driven. So. Just something to, consider as we move forward with the Soto thing. There's a chance we don't even sign him. We don't even need to have this conversation, but I think it's worth having. And, Yelich isn't going anywhere. His contract is an albatross. There's an out after 4 more seasons in 2028, so it's not the end of the world. He actually had a really, really nice season, all things considered. And then the infield is kind of in shambles. Rhys Hoskins was good. He definitely faded at the end of the season. Did not have a good playoff in the 2 games. Went 0 for 6, 4 Ks. Definitely not what you like to see, and had a rough month of September from what I could tell. Yeah, a really rough month of September, and August wasn't great either. But, he's on the big contract. Can't really trade him without eating significant amounts. So we're going to keep Rhys. On the Tyler Black, we're going to try to improve his infield defense. So if we can slot him into second base somehow, and then, this is also where it gets hairy. Do I trust Bryce Turang and Joey Ortiz, who are incredibly similar players, to hold down the left side of the infield with their subpar bats, to say the least? Ortiz definitely underwhelmed last year after a nice start. And then Bryce Turang was okay. Definitely a low level starter. But if he was my, backup infielder, I'd be much more happy. At least Jory Ortiz brings a good defense at shortstop. Terrain could too, but just to a lesser extent. So, we definitely need some infield hitting, and that's where another free agent offer that I made comes in. So Jung Choi, he won the KBO Most Valuable Player last year, won a Gold Glove at third base, and a Platinum Stick / Silver Slugger over at third base last year. He's 37 years old, but a really, really good player, a fan favorite, leader, work ethic, a really interesting guy. So I offered him a 1-year, $10 million deal. We have a ton of money to spend still, even after the Soto offer. So it doesn't completely leave us out of like the Willy Adames conversation, but his price tag is pretty significant, even compared to Soto. Like, this is Juan Soto money. And maybe in ways he's a better fit for the team. I don't know. I feel like we're a little bit capped if we go with the Adames. I feel like Soto gives us a higher upside with his bat. He had a really good season. He did get hurt, which probably dropped his price tag a bit. And he's also, 3 years younger, which does matter when you're giving out an 8-year deal. Is a guy like Matt Chapman on the table? 8-year deal, pretty expensive. Wilmer Flores would honestly be a really nice fit. He crushes lefties. I wouldn't even play him against righties. But a weak side platoon guy, am I going to pay him, what does he want? $18 million? I don't know. It's a little rich for my blood. And then you're kind of playing with roster filler types down here, which I don't really think any of these guys are upgrades to anyone we have. But I would be looking for someone on the cheap to be a right-handed bat in this order, because we're pretty lefty-heavy as it is. I think the order would probably go something like Yelich leading off. He was good in that spot last year, 353 on base. I'd probably throw Churio in the 2-hole as it stands today. Then Contreras, and then, we really need, honestly, Juan Soto slotting in the 3-hole would be pretty perfect. Although we would be left with no second baseman, but we're very lefty heavy. And bringing in Juan Soto doesn't really make a ton of sense in that regard. I'm going to stick with my guns and do it. See, now I'm kind of talking myself out of it. Like, does Adames make more sense, even if, he's a lesser player in most regards, but does bring the defense, brings the durability, brings the leadership. I know it doesn't matter, but he has familiarity on this team. Nothing's saying we can't offer both these guys contracts, but that pushes us up against it in the long term. Money will open up eventually, but not until after 2029 and this Yelich contract goes away. After 2028, I'd say. But then we also got to make decisions on Freddie Peralta. It doesn't make a lot of sense to bring both these guys in. So, see, now I'm second guessing myself. He's extremely popular, very popular, extremely popular locally. It's tough. Bellinger looking for a lot of money. He's kind of redundant. Okay, we're going to go through, make some contract offers. We'll come back with an update in a few weeks, see where we are with all this. Okay, so things got a little hairy, actually. We wound up getting our guy. So, as you can see, first of all, let me go through awards. Best reliever in the AL, best reliever in the NL. We didn't have anyone there. Silver Sluggers, we didn't have any names. And then Rookie of the Year, Jackson Churio finishes third. Pretty good. Absolutely. And then we have Manager of the Year. We didn't have anyone. Cy Young, Freddie Peralta winds up finishing fourth. And then MVP, we had Willy Adames finish down the board, maybe 8th or 10th. And then Freddie Peralta was on here. And William Contreras gets a vote. So really cool there. And then we have an update on Willie Adames. He winds up going to the Giants. We get a supplemental second-round pick in return. He signs a huge deal, but not actually that bad. 4 years, 24 per. Again, if I knew that was the going price on him, I would have gotten into the bidding, but he was asking for an 8-year deal when I talked to him. So good for him. He gets the bag, goes to San Fran. And that was that was back in beginning of December. So we waited about a month. Crickets on the trade talk, or on the free agent block. Luis Severino winds up signing back with the Yankees after a rough second half with us. After a good start to the second half, Tyler O'Neill signed a huge deal with LA. We'll see how that ages. Yikes. And then, we got an update on the 13th that we had to up our offer, so we wound up going from 28 per year to 34. And then we waited about another month. The Rule 5 draft came and went. Wound up picking up one guy. We'll get to him in a second. Jose Quintana signed a 1-year, $2 million deal. I forgot to mention that, but you probably saw it on the screen when I was going through. Tyler Black wound up improving his defense, but only in the outfield, unfortunately. But actually, he's starting to do a good defensive outfielder, so an option to be used out there at some point. Jefferson Kiro did not improve his defense, unfortunately. He's still a good defender, so not a huge deal. And then Matt Chapman signed with the Diamondbacks. Eovaldi came back to the Rangers, and then Juan Soto started to get rumored with the Yankees, who are rebuilding, apparently in this series. Keenan Middleton signed with the Dodgers. Shane Bieber went to the Diamondbacks, and then finally, about a month after we last negotiated with him, Juan Soto winds up coming to town on a 8-year, $272 million deal. That's 34 per year, player option at age 33. And that leaves us in not a bad situation, but a situation where we have to make a decision on Sal Frelick and Garrett Mitchell here. So it is going to be Sal Frelick out the door. We're getting a really, really good player that fits a position of need. I'll spoil for you right now. It is a shortstop. And it was pretty much like the best guy we could have gotten here. It wasn't the top of my targets. Zico Tovar was a guy I looked at, but they wanted a king's ransom for a good reason. He's getting paid like $9 million per year for the next 10 years. Crazy contract, but they wanted the big gem on my team is Mizorowski, whose control did tick up. So he wasn't really a guy I was looking at trading, especially if he improves in the development lab. We'll also get to the updates on that about a month and a half later. But I don't even know where I was going with that. Ed Dansby Swanson was the other guy I was looking at. But it is going to be a trade involving Sal Frelick. He'll be the odd man out. I just don't really love his power profile. His defense is a little bit worse than Garrett Mitchell. And even if Mitchell does have 1 year less of control, I like his projection as a center fielder a little bit better. And he probably won't even play a ton of center field. It might be Churio. I just do like Churio a little bit better, but Mitchell is technically the better center fielder, a 60 compared to a 65. But anyway, the trade is with the Minnesota Twins. If you can't already guess who it is, it's going to be for Carlos Correa. And a decent package going back to them. Nothing crazy. He's just on a huge deal. He has, 7 more years after this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 seasons total left on this contract. The salaries do go down at the end. Team option that last season, and coming off a rough season. So, we're buying low on him for sure. His defense has declined just a bit, but he's only 30, still, I think there's a good player in there. So they're going to be eating half of this deal. We're also getting Travis Honeyman in return as a throw-in piece. I like Honeyman. I think he could play an A ball or high A at least right now, and maybe make an impact. He's a right-handed bat, which we like for outfielders. So the return is Sal Frelick. who had a great season for us last year, but unfortunately just the odd man out with Soto coming in. Hobie Milner, who had an excellent year for us last year, but it's a free agent at the end of the season, and wants a decent extension at this point. He's 33 years old. The stuff has declined. So a guy I'm okay giving up, although he's my only lefty in the pen at the moment, so maybe I'm going to swap him out here. I like Joel Payamps. He's still fairly cheap. Guess Payamps would be the only other guy. He had such a nice year, though. He has a couple of years of control left. How many years is that? Oh, he just has next year, so I'm going to throw in Payamps instead. I need to keep that lefty in there. We have a ton of righties that are going to take his spot anyway. He's out of options, too. And Logan Henderson, who's a nice enough prospect, but a 3-pitch guy. Not a ton of upside there, but 22 years old, maybe can improve. And then Will Rudy, kind of similar player there. Soft tossing righty. For Carlos Correa and Travis Honeyman. So, again, I did look at trades for some guys that I would prefer personally. Dansby Swanson, I guess it's the interdivision thing, but I threw in Rodriguez, Wilkin, Petonio, Adams, Deturi, and we just weren't even close. So he was a guy who was pretty much untouchable for them. Which is surprising, but we need a shortstop right now. So, there's not a ton of rebuilding teams at the moment. Like the bad teams don't really have good shortstops. Phillies, I don't really want Trey Turner. I don't even know who the shortstop for the Pirates is, unless you count O'Neal Cruz as a shortstop, which I don't. The Padres are win now. The Giants just signed Willie Adames, and they traded Averson Arteaga. Actually got picked in the Rule 5 draft by the White Sox, which I didn't like. There was a lot of picks that were, of guys that shouldn't have been in the Rule 5 draft. Like Arteaga is not a Rule 5 guy. Curtis Mead was in there. He's the number 20-something or number 40 prospect in baseball. Again, the Rule 5 draft has been broken for years in this game, so that's not too surprising. You have the Mariners. J.P. Crawford's a nice player, but doesn't really move the needle defensively or offensively. They're not trading Mason Wynn. The Rangers aren't trading Corey Seager after they just had a 99-win season. And the Blue Jays. Bo Bichette was a guy I looked at. He's a free agent after the season. His asking price was quite high, though, for a rental. Yeah, so, they'd want Brock Wilken, who I like, and then Rodriguez, who I also really like, and then like Joey Ortiz or any of these guys. I guess Sal Frelick could have been thrown in this deal. Does it make more sense to go for a rental? Keep the long-term flexibility, but we're giving up less, and we're getting Carlos Correa for like 8 years on the cheap. So I think that makes too much sense. It'll be 18 this year, and then 15, 12, 10, 7. So like, even if he's a bad player at the end, he's a good leader, good work ethic. And he's a righty too, so that definitely helps. So this is the trade we're going to do. It's tough to go with Sal Frelick, but he's just the odd man out here. So the team loves that we got Carlos Correa. They were upset that we gave Sal Frelick, which I agree with. It's tough to give him up, but yeah, this team's looking pretty freaking good coming into the season. So, this is a pretty stacked lineup. Yelich, Churios, Soto, Contreras. Even you could switch these guys, put Yelich down here. I'm going to keep it like this, but Yelich, Churios, Soto, Contreras, Correa, Hoskins, Garrett Mitchell, Joey Ortiz, and Bryce Terang. He's kind of defensive guys, but still really good players. I might even put Bryce Terang at third to start the year. I think his glove plays a little bit better. At least his arm does. So we'll try that in spring training at least, and get Terang some experience there. And then Tyler Black, I mean, he's just sitting there on the bench. Like, I don't even know what to do with him. He's going to play a lot of second. He's going to mix in the corner outfields, especially against lefties, where he's a reverse platoon guy. So just looking at like the lefty lineup that we'd run with, it'd be Soto back in right, Chourio in center, Yelich in left, and then probably Black at first, Hoskins at DH. Then we'll have Correa, Turang, and we're still waiting on the international guy as well. I forgot his name, but the guy we mentioned last time. So in this lineup, I kind of like going Chourio, Soto, Contreras, Correa, Hoskins, Black, Yelich, Ortiz, Turang. I think that's a pretty good lineup. I mean, and then, you mix in that third baseman there. We have him at third instead of Turang, or, Ortiz and Turang can platoon at second. I really like this team. And the rotations really come into shape as well. Peralta, Woodruff, DL Hall at the top. Yeah, Quintana is a guy I think can bounce back. He came up for a really rough year with the Mets. But the FIP was much better. I think if he gets the walks under control, gets the home runs down, which I think he can definitely do. His BABIP was a little high. That FIP not bad at all. So I think he could be a good fifth starter. Aaron Ashby's still here. He had a decent season. Then we have the stacked bullpen. We picked up Jake Cousins in the Rule 5 draft as well, before I forget. Real-life Yankees pitcher, formerly on the Brewers just a few years back. Didn't do too much for them. He signed with the Cubs, or the White Sox in real life, and could not crack their roster last year, surprisingly. So I like Jake Cousins. We'll see if he makes the team. We have Jefferson Kiro down here. He'll be our backup catcher. Just waiting to add him to the 40. Brock Wilken, another guy I really like. I think he can be a platoon guy out the gate. And then, we're number 8, the number 8 farm system in baseball. Mizorowski will likely retire this season. Same with Kiro. You got Luke Holman, our first-round pick. He's number 114. Luis Lara, 117. A nice player. Rodriguez, we talked a bit about him. Definitely like him. Hagen Smith, our first-round supplemental pick. He's inside the top 200. Bradley Blaylock, a guy I'm excited for. Did struggle in AAA quite mightily, but was good in AA. I think he could still be a nice back-of-the-rotation guy. And Josh Noth, a 19-year-old with some upside. Not to mention some other guys. Robert Gasser is a guy who can make the team opening day. Could be a good fifth starter, swingman type. Slade Caldwell, maybe he improves. And let's check in actually in the development lab while we're at it. All of these guys frustrated. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we could add 2 guys to try to improve their defense here. We already used Black, so maybe I'll try Contreras, see if we can improve his defense. And then maybe Garrett Mitchell. You know what? Let's do Carlos Correa. See if we can improve his defense a little bit at short. Get that range back up to a 70 or so. And we'll see how those go. So preseason starts in a few days. We'll be back with an update in a little bit. Okay, so we're back, final part of this episode, and we have the opening day roster to announce, as well as our opening series against San Diego, a 4-game set. Let's get all this garbage off here. This is just last year's numbers. I was going through the minor league system and everything. So, the catchers would be William Contreras. Jefferson Kiro had a great spring, as you can see, near 500 batting average. I'm really excited for him. He's going to play quite a bit, I think, behind Contreras. At first base, we'll have Hoskins, and then Tyler Black is going to be our second baseman coming into the year. The defense is rough. It didn't improve when we improved his outfield defense. So we're just going to have to hope for the best with him. But, he's a good enough hitter to justify playing wherever, kind of. So second base, we'll hope to hide him there. Bryce Terang and Joey Ortiz will come into the year in a bit of platoon at third base. Brandon Drury, who we signed to a minor league deal, he is also on this roster as a third baseman, infield type, right-handed bat, which we definitely needed. We'll see how he does. Definitely on a short leash here for a roster spot. And then Carlos Correa, he'll be at shortstop, our newest pickup. And then the outfield will be somewhat of a combination between Jackson Churio, Christian Yelich, Garrett Mitchell, and Juan Soto, of course. The defense is kind of rough when Soto and Yelich are out there against lefties, but I think we can manage just fine. And then Blake Perkins also makes the team. As we traded like Sal Frelick and some of our other outfield depth, Perkins was kind of the guy who was left here. So after a rough season last year, he'll get another shot here as a backup. He'll probably play sparingly, but a decent defender and a decent hitter as well. So he makes the team. Here's what the lineup looks like against righties and against lefties. It looks like so. Let's go through the pitching really quick. Freddie Peralta will be our opening day starter. Brandon Woodruff will be our number 2. His stamina dropped a ton this season after the injury, so we'll see if he can hold up a starter's workload this season. And then DL Hall, he'll be our 3 starter. Jose Quintana, his ratings did drop as we went into kind of spring training, so he'll be our 4th starter, but another guy who's kind of on a short leash here. Sign him to a kind of prove it deal. And then Aaron Ashby will be our 5th starter. Had a great spring. Really excited for what he can bring this year. The bullpen, Devin Williams, no surprise. He's back as our closer. Trevor McGill, who had a fantastic season. He's our setup man along with Nick Robertson. That will kind of be the 7th inning is going to be whichever one of these guys pitches the best. Jake Cousins makes the team as our Rule 5 pick. He pitched pretty well in spring. I want to give him a shot. I really like him. Daigo Vieira, who's coming off a really rough year, but he's out of options. I wanted to see what he has before we go and dump him. Giovanni Gallegos lost some velocity this offseason, but excited to have him back after a great second half with us. And then Reed Garrett, a guy we got in the trade with the Mets right before the deadline last year, along with Harrison Bader. And then Elvis Paguero makes the team as kind of our long man / multi-inning reliever. I don't necessarily think he's going to stay on the roster all year, but because he has 2 options. But he'll start the year on the opening day roster. Vieira, another guy who's at risk of being cut at some point. Guys who didn't make the team. Jacob Mizorowski, as you can see, did not make it. He's definitely going to be up pretty quick. But I did want to give him a little bit more experience starting down in AAA. Abner Uribe was not great in spring, but he's another guy who's going to be up and down most likely. Bradley Blaylock had a really nice spring. Excited for what he can be as a back end of the rotation guy. And then Carlos Rodriguez, excited for him, but he didn't get a ton of innings in spring. He was recovering from an injury from last year. Low-key really excited for him. He has some good ratings. We'll see what he can bring. I actually need to adjust my minor league hitting. I only did the pitching. So I'm going to do that off camera. We'll come back for opening day. All right, so let's do opening day here. Go quickly through the prospects, where we stand. Minor league system is 7th. Jacob Mizorowski, 7th overall prospect. Jefferson Kiro, 27. Brock Wilken, number 40. Then Luke Holman, Luis Lara, Yofi Rodriguez, and Bradley Blaylock round out the top 200 guys that we have. Hagen Smith falls way down. Not looking great on that pick, but at least Luke Holman looks good, who was our first-round pick. So anyway, let's go. Joe Musgrove against Freddie Peralta, game 1 of the season. And we lose 8-7 in 10 innings. Yasung Kim walks it off for the Padres. Spread out offensive attack. Reese Hoskins drives in 2. No one else really had a big game. Yelich had a multi-hit game, I guess. Freddie Peralta did not pitch well. Devin Williams blew the game there in the 10th. So game 2, Brandon Woodruff against Dylan Cease. And we lose 8-6. Woodruff, not a great start. 4 2/3, 5 runs. Jake Cousins and Reed Garrett struggle out of the pen. Bryce Durang had a multi-hit game. Hoskins and Yelich as well. But nothing going there, so we lose the first 2 games of the set. DL Hall on the mound for Game 3 against Michael King. We win 6-5. Jackson Cherio, a 3-hit game. Rhys Hoskins drove in 4 in this one. DL Hall, not the best start. Peguero pitched well. McGill gave up a couple runs, and Devin Williams picked up the save. So looking for the series split, Rangers Suarez against Jose Quintana, a couple of veteran lefties. And we pick up the win 9-7, so a slugfest of a series there. A lot of high-scoring games. Correa drove in 2 runs in this one, multi-hit game. Rhys Hoskins does some more damage. He crushed that series. Quintana, not a good start. 10 hits allowed. And then Gallegos was rough out of the pen, but the rest of the pen does well. Offense does enough. And we're able to win the series. So, yeah, as you can see, Brandon Woodruff's stamina dropped. That usually means they're kind of done as a starter. But we'll see. We'll keep running him out there for now. Anything else? Circle change. Aiden Maldonado. Okay. Good on ya. Jade Melendez, a little drop off for him. Cody Schreier looks like he had a bunch of movement. Not all of it good. And Slade Caldwell. I saw he improved his range a little bit, so that's good, but still a young guy. And Juan Rivas, one of our international discoveries last season, really looking like a really good player. He's still in the complex, though. So yeah, that'll wrap up this episode. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.